Winning Cures Everything. Now for your hosts, Gary and Chris.
Welcome in. It is Friday, July 31st. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And this is Winning Cures Everything. We got a ton of stuff to discuss today. Lots of football. Of course, right after we get done with the show yesterday, the SEC goes ahead and makes their big, gigantic announcement. So we'll, of course, hit on that. We're going to talk about some baseball, basketball, whatever. All of the different sports around the world, other than golf. We got golf happening in our city. We're not even discussing. There's just so much more stuff going on. So I'm not sure what we really need to discuss about it other than, Brooks Koepka seems to be kicking everybody's ass, and that's typically what he does here in Memphis. So, it'll be fun to watch on Sunday whenever everybody's coming up the back nine, and then we'll go from there. But before we get started with all of that, tomorrow is August 1st. We will have our first video up over at sportsbookreview.com, over at sbrpicks.com. You can find all of our stuff over on their YouTube channel. So make sure you go and subscribe and, tell everybody you like it. Hit the like button, share it out, all that kind of stuff. Make sure you watch it. That would definitely help us a lot. We would definitely appreciate your help with it. So, sportsbookreview.com, sbrpicks.com. For us, for this show, winningcureseverything.com is the website. All of our picks, previews, podcasts, videos, social media platforms. You can subscribe at all the different platforms that you need to right there. If you're watching live, we are on Periscope, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and you can chat with us from those different platforms. It'll populate right there on your screen. If you look down at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, there's a chat box right there. And that chat box will let you talk to each other regardless of the platform that you are on. So if you want to help drive the conversation, go ahead and knock that thing out. Make sure you are subscribed to the podcast. Leave a nice 5-star review. With that said, let's go ahead and dive into the biggest topic of the last 24 hours. That would be SEC has decided, the Southeastern Conference has decided to go conference only for the 2020 football season. They are doing 10 games. There will be 0 non-conference games. That means there is no South Carolina Clemson. There is no Florida State. Mike C. jumps in and said, "What's up?" Yeah, by the way, we're a little early today. We've got things going on this afternoon that we have to take care of, so we won't be able to go live then. The Brown Yeti jumps in. Hey, it's been a little while since we've seen him. He said, "What's up, guys?" So, yeah, if you want to jump in the chat, help drive the conversation, go ahead and knock it out. So the SEC decides no non-conference games. That means no ACC-SEC rivalries. That means no LSU-Texas. That means none of the other stuff, right? Alabama-USC was already canceled because of the ACC's decision. We were not going to get Auburn-North Carolina, etc. So, Chris, what I wanted to do today, there's an interesting article over at SaturdayDownSouth.com. Now, I love these guys. Conor O'Gara, fantastic writer. He has come up with 5 things that he likes about this and 5 things that he doesn't. So I kind of want to go through the list. So, first things first, Chris, the first thing he says is, hello, more SEC games. Obviously, that's a positive, right? Like, I think I'm happy with getting rid of cupcakes and getting to watch SEC football as many weekends as we can. Do you agree with that?
100%.
100%. All right. Here's the other thing that he likes, and we don't know that this is going to happen right now. They haven't decided. He said, I sort of don't hate the idea of blowing up divisions in this weird year. Would you rather have a winner of the East and winner of the West, or just have the 2 best teams?
I don't know the reason for that. I don't know why we would have just the 2 best teams. I'm not opposed to it. I just don't know the logic behind it when you're not going to play each other. I don't know.
The reason I'm saying this, so, I'm imagining that they are going to do the same thing as the ACC, which would be a winning percentage, right? Because you don't know. Go ahead.
The reason the ACC is doing that is because they now have 15 teams.
Agreed. But even though the SEC still has 7-7, you are still going to be playing.
So you're thinking as if a team doesn't play the same amount of games.
Right.
I don't know. I would, because it's so hard to win in the SEC consistently. You play a lesser amount of games, but have a higher winning percentage. I don't like that.
Well, so
because we're just assuming that extra game you missed is a push.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And if it's a loss, it changes everything. And I don't like that at all.
I'm hoping that they do what the Big Ten is discussing with going divisions early. That's all the rumors that we had heard early on. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. Mike said, do you think this will change college football scheduling for the future now that they prove they can change schedules instantly?
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, my goodness.
I really hate the contracts of LSU's going to play Oregon in 2035.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, holy shit, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Who cares?
The player that's going to play in that game isn't alive yet. Who cares?
Ben jumped in and said, RIP to A&M's easy schedule. Yeah.
I had a lot of money ready to be booked on A&M's over whenever we ever got a schedule. That might go away. So
yeah. I mean, who knows at this point? Number 3 on this was, yes, I actually think this could strengthen the SEC's brand. Remember, the SEC has got that 2:30 Central Time window on CBS, along with all of the national coverage from ESPN, etc. You are going to see the best football in the country played in this conference. I mean, you see it every year anyway, but
I just hate that we're the last to get started. That infuriates me.
Yeah.
We're going to sit around for 4 weeks and watch 4 other conferences, lesser football, and I'm not a fan.
I am convinced that this was set up by these Power 5 conferences.
But that doesn't make sense, Gary, because that means by time the SEC is what did the SEC benefit from being last?
Well, I'll tell you
playing those 4 weeks and having the Big 10 get 4 weeks on you, or the Big 12 get 4 weeks on you.
I don't think that they're going to get 4 weeks on you. I think that all of these conferences are convinced that you might be able to get started and you may not be able to finish. That's what I think they're doing.
The Big 12 starts and then they realize they can't finish, and this is a disaster, and the SEC never gets started now.
Now, you've got a valid point there. I'm looking at it more along the lines of, okay, now what I don't like is they are letting kids get back on campus, and they want to get that first wave over with when kids get back in late August, and then they want to talk about bringing kids into play, September 26th. I don't really understand why they would do that, but part of me kind of gets the idea, at least for television networks and whatnot, of all 5 power conferences starting on different weeks. That way you at least get the opening week, and then you'll just see where you can fit in stuff later on. I think it helps their inventory. That would make sense
if the other conferences aren't playing the week that the other conferences start. But by the time we start, all 5 conferences will be playing.
Agreed. Now, what I don't understand is why in the world
that means by week 2. So week 2, we're going to get Big 10 football and Big 12 football and nothing else.
And then week
3, we're going to add the ACC.
Oh yeah, I guess. No. Week 2.
Whatever. Whoever's starting for it doesn't matter. At opening weekend, we're going to get 1 conference.
Yeah, like week 0, we will get Oklahoma and
that means we're going to get 5 games.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's insane. Why?
Well, I think that we're going to have G5 teams
60-something teams. Let's let them play.
Damien said, what's up? He jumps in on YouTube. Will Gomez said, need kids at campus to say it's safe for the kids to be in groups and then have them play. You think this is maybe a liability thing?
No.
I don't think so either. All right, so number 4.
I don't think these people give a damn about liability.
I don't think so either. Well, I mean, they were getting kids to sign waivers and whatnot. I mean, they scrapped
once they have the waiver, they no longer need anything for liability.
Oh, yeah, but they ended up scrapping all those waivers. So
it doesn't matter. They know the kids will sign them, so they just can bring them back.
Number 4, do you really think the SEC is getting left out of the playoff? He said, I don't, not in a year where there are fewer data points than ever. I will say this. I don't think that we are going to have a single undefeated team in the SEC this year. Now, I do think that we are going to get an SEC team in the playoff if we end up having the playoff.
100%.
But, I mean, I think it's more likely that the SEC champion has 2 losses as opposed to 1.
They still get in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
They still get in.
Ben said, has the G5 canceled or are they doing conference only too? None of them has announced yet. They were waiting for all the big dogs. The Big 12 has not said that they are going conference only yet. Like, as it stands right now, Oklahoma is playing Missouri State out of the FCS, which is Bobby Petrino's team, by the way. And then Kansas is playing Southern Illinois. So that's the plan for week 0. Who knows, right? G5 schools are going to be clamoring to get Big 12 deals so that they can make that money. Like Kent State, they lost a game against Kentucky, a game against Alabama, and a game against Penn State, and it cost them over $5 million this year. That is 17% of their revenue. Like
that's a lot of dough.
That's a lot of money. So
a lot of money.
Mike said, being an Ohio State fan, there's no way the SEC gets left out. I believe Big 12 or Pac-12 gets left out. Yeah, that's what it's been basically every year. I think everybody just kind of understands, right? All right, so what he said here, number 5, the SEC is letting everyone else figure this out first. Lost in the shuffle of the 10-game conference-only schedule is the fact the SEC will not play until September 26th. That is 4 weeks after Oklahoma is scheduled to play Missouri State. The ACC, on the other hand, is expected to start the week after Labor Day. Commissioner Sankey said throughout this process, the goal has always been to gather as much information as possible before making these decisions. The SEC did not push to have games played in August. The situation is very fluid. The unknown of how this virus will spread when, if students get to campus is one thing, but so is seeing how this thing is handled when players are actually in full contact at practice. A September 26th start gives the SEC time, which is something that it was lacking before making this decision. So, it still doesn't really fully explain why you would go September 26th. I understand, like, what they said yesterday, so Sankey was on with Feinbaum, and you had all these other guys that are in the know, apparently, but they all discussed that they wanted to gather as much information as possible, and they wanted to make sure that they could get in a full season as opposed to starting really quickly and then having to stop. Now, the other side of this is by September 26th, I mean, that's 2 months away. Are we really going to be in a much better situation than we are right now? Like,
nope.
That's what I'm curious about. Is,
and we're not going to know any more information either, by the way.
Yeah, that's the issue. Like, we're not going to get a vaccine by then. So, I don't know. The Brown Yeti jumps in. He said, if the best SEC team has 2 losses, they will still be one of the top 2 seeds. Yeah, I think so. And then 100%. Ben said, this would be a good year to add playoff teams, honestly. Every other league is trying new things. CFB should too. Yes.
We completely agree with that as well.
Yes. I think this should be an 8-team playoff this year.
Double it up.
Yeah, and that way you are sure that you've got the right teams in. Like, that's all you want out of this thing anyway, right? If you're going to have no non-conference games, but you can have a playoff, toss 8 of them in there. Like, you're probably not going to get bowl games anyway, so put 8 of them in and see which 4 are the best, and then you can work from there. Matt Miller said, man, you boys starting early today. Gary, are you day drinking? No, no, I'm not, actually. I am actually in the middle of work, but got a lot of stuff to handle this afternoon, and, you know, Chris was nice enough to go ahead and do this with me early. So, here are the don't likes that he said. Goodbye, traditional non-conference rivalries. So, these dates are going to blow your mind, by the way. The last time that we had a college football season without Florida State was 1957. The last time we did not have Louisville and Kentucky was 1993. The last time we did not have Georgia Tech, good old-fashioned hate, 1924. And then check this crap out. Clemson and South Carolina have played every single year since 1908. That is pretty unbelievable. So, yeah, I was surprised. So that sucks that we're not going to get that. But it also sucks that we're not going to get LSU Texas, and we're not going to get Tennessee Oklahoma, and we're not getting Alabama USC. And
none of those things suck if you don't have fans.
Agreed. It's still fun to watch the matchups regardless.
But no, it's not. No, it's not. It doesn't take care of your home and home. It just totally changes the game.
I'm not worried about the home and all that. I'm just talking about the matchup. I would hope that if they had the game this year, which I'm betting is a large reason why they're doing conference only right now.
The atmosphere for those games is a big deal. It's a big deal to the home team. And the home team missing out on that advantage is huge.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely huge.
Agreed. Will Gomez said, ask still to get how the kids are going to social distance in class. My classes usually had 120 or 130 people.
This is not going to happen in college. No.
I will tell you this. Where I work, they are cutting the class sizes down to like a third, and they're going to go hybrid. So some days, some kids get to go, and some days other kids get to go. And in the meantime, they're doing it virtually, and, I mean, we'll see what happens. So, I mean, who knows? They're not going to be able to socially distance in those classrooms, so we'll just have to go from there. Matt Miller said...
I had a large section of my classrooms, this is 15 years ago, where I was in Oxford, the professor was in South Haven, and they had classes in 2 other section satellite schools of Mississippi. Okay.
Yeah.
And one professor got up, gave lectures, and there was a camera set up. It was live streaming it. The other kids could push a little button on the microphone in front of them and talk to him. He could talk back. It was very easy, very seamless. That was 15 years ago technology, and we were still doing it. If you want to tell the kids, keep your ass at home, and the professor's still going to show up and do the lecture, we have that technology, and that's pretty freaking easy.
Yeah. Matt said, for my school, we have to have temperature checks every time we walk in a new building and wear a mask in public. Yeah, that's going to continue. That's going to continue. Damien said, those waivers don't mean a damn thing other than saying they really don't give a damn about these students. It doesn't matter because they're not doing them anymore anyway.
But they've already signed. A bunch of teams already signed them, and that's
fine.
But
the colleges admitted they were throwing them out because they, for whatever reason, I don't know.
Because they were super unethical.
Yeah, big time. Yeah,
I mean that's what we said the day we talked about it. Just ridiculously unethical.
Yeah. No, we weren't fully against it, but because
I was
it would
fully
cover
against them signing a waiver.
I
wouldn't have signed a waiver. I want to play.
I agree. Yes.
And I'd have showed up every day to practice, but I ain't signing that piece of paper.
Agreed.
And if I'm great, you're going to let me on that field.
Yeah, because at that point, they don't have to take care of you if something goes wrong.
That's right. That's why I wouldn't have signed it.
Will said, are they going to quarantine the Georgia Bulldog? You did see that there was a dog that got COVID last week. I did not realize they could do that.
I don't know that. I need to see more signs because we pretty much had definitive signs that said the dogs can't get it.
But tigers could, right? When felines
that
could.
One tiger did get it, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, who knows? Who knows? The Brown Yeti said, I didn't know we were calling 2020 a year. I thought it was just going to be known as the mess of 2020. Yeah, that's kind of what this has turned into. And Alonzo Chico jumps in. He said, go Gators. Hey, cheers to you, brother. Cheers to you. Go Gators. Matt Miller said, first dog dies of COVID yesterday, but it was a different strain, I think. Yeah, there's like 6 strains of this shit now. I mean, it's unbelievable. Anyway, all right, so no LSU in Texas, no Oklahoma, Tennessee. So obviously no non-conference matchups. Number 3 that Conor does not like was evaluating rebuilding programs is going to be awful. Can you imagine how much it must suck to be Vanderbilt and Arkansas and Missouri could be okay, maybe.
Vanderbilt's bad. Arkansas is in a complete year 0 anyway.
Oh, yeah.
You weren't going to gauge them on anything this year to begin with.
Well, but at least you could have a couple of non-conference wins against nobody.
That makes you feel good?
For those players, at least getting odd W.
You know, the penal farm and kick the shit out of those guys, and that gives us a win in the win column, boys.
But it gives you something.
Everybody knows that's bullshit.
Yes, but the players at least have something that they can point to work better at, right? Oh. Like at least because we've talked about this when we were previewing like Rice last year and
all
UT,
those players aren't going to be there, so they don't need anything to look back at.
Yeah, you might be right. So, Matt Bennett jumps in, said Clemson and South Carolina both need to be in the same conference. Florida needs to be with Miami and Florida State. Some of these conferences need to be broken down and changed. Hey, You are preaching to the choir. We have talked about regional conferences on this show for a long time.
If we just could bring Florida State and Clemson back into the SEC, would be great. We got a 16-team power conference, and we'd win the national championship every year.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you might have a year here and there where Ohio State would jump in, but that'd be about the only other competition.
Nope.
And I'd be all right with that, but this is all political. The SEC stuff is all political. It's so stupid.
Oh, yeah.
No. I like that. You're like, nope. Matt Miller asked if any coach gets fired at the end of this year. I don't think there's a chance.
I think it's going to happen. It won't be because of wins and losses. It'll be because of negligence somewhere, somehow. They covered up a fact that a kid was sick and they let him play anyway, and it got leaked out or something. That somebody's going to get fired because somebody's going to play fast and loose with rules, and we're going to string them up for it.
That would be about the only way, because at that point you don't have to pay them.
That's right, because it's going to be for cause. And I absolutely think somebody's going to do something stupid, because that's what these coaches do. Listen, these guys are geniuses with football, okay? They have some of the best offensive and defensive mind. They understand the game better than I'll ever understand it. Outside of football, they're as close to a Neanderthal as you could possibly be. These guys are knuckle draggers, and they're idiots, okay? We shouldn't let them make any decisions whatsoever outside of football decisions. If you think just because he's a great football coach, oh, look how great of a leader he is, he would be a fantastic general. He'd be a great CEO of a company. That's bullshit. I've met a lot of these guys. That's just not true.
Matt Miller said, so someone's going to pull the Marlins? Yeah, probably.
Listen, man, we're going to look back, and if the Marlins have this big wave go through them and they get out early and they end up, every team is going to make the damn playoffs anyway, and they get in the playoffs and they're healthy and they make a run, they win the World Series, you're all going to look stupid.
Hey, you might be right. I mean, remember,
they got
went
that
2-1.
LSU Clemson mentality.
Hey,
let's let everybody get it right now. Come on.
And then go. Yeah.
That's right.
The Marlins did go 2-1 against the Phillies. I'm just saying.
I'm telling you. So now all they got to do is get healthy, get back. It's done ran its course through them. They just rolled through the majors.
You got that right. Number 4 on his do not like list is the weird way we're going to have to look back on this for stats, records, etc. It said, get ready for win percentage to become a big thing in 2020. Nobody's going to want to talk about the cumulative number of wins. Even the contenders will only be 8-2. If you're someone like Will Muschamp or Derek Mason, how do you show improvement in a year like this to save your job? I imagine those would be difficult conversations for an athletic director to have at the season's end. Firing a coach might be even more challenging. I will say this. This one thing says maybe we'll see a 2-8 season from someone who annually reaches the postseason. I don't know that anybody will get fired for losing this season.
Yeah,
like that's.
I
just
think
not
this would
happen.
be a really hard one to do. That doesn't make any sense to me, and the stats things don't make any sense to me. Like, I just don't get that you think this is going to throw off somebody's win percentage. They're basically not going to have 2 or 3 pay for wins. Okay.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have those anyway.
Agreed. What you need to be looking at is record against power, or conference record anyway.
Yeah. Because if you go 6-6, all right, but 3 of those were high school teams.
Well, but you were 2-6 in the conference.
But you 3 and whatever in the conference, and so you go to a bowl game because you beat 3 teams, 2 of which were the 2 worst teams in the conference, and then you upset somebody, and then you beat a couple of high school teams, and congratulations, you get to go to a bowl game. Like, that's kind of laughable to begin with.
Oh yeah. Oh, I agree with you. So I think basically what this does is it helps reveal the flaws, I guess.
Right.
Because everybody,
and I don't think Muschamp's getting fired. I don't think Vanderbilt's getting fired after this year. I think this is a tough season to do that with. And also, like Muschamp's situation, he told him this was not a Rona thing. He gave back a lot of money to make sure to help pay so his staff didn't have to take a pay cut. So he took the standard pay cut that, to help save the school some money. And then he took an extra pay cut to make sure his staff didn't have to, and they could be paid. That's a big deal. If you're an athletic director, you're South Carolina, you're not a you're not you're used to going bowling. Okay.
Yeah.
That's about the level of expectation you've got at South Carolina. I'm going to tell you, man, it'd be real hard for me to fire that coach. I'd say you got one more year, but because of your loyalty to your staff and to the school, you can't just turn away that to wins and losses.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen this year.
Now, LSU and Georgia and some of these bigger schools, it's tough to justify that, but you know how I feel about that anyway. I just don't think it's anybody's birthright to just get 10 wins a year. In the first year, you lose 9. You lose 3 or 4 games, and you don't get to that double-digit win column. You fire the coach. I think that's ridiculous to begin with.
I think Coach O is lifer status right now at LSU. I think he's got nothing to worry about.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I know.
I just think some of these schools have an expectation that's absurd and irresponsible.
It's kind of ridiculous. You get that ring, you get that trophy, and it's basically your get out of jail free card for a long, long time. Like if Coach O goes 8-5, well, whatever the number would be.
Yeah.
Say he goes to 8-5 next year, 7-5 or whatever, he's still fine. You do that same thing with Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
We might be having a different conversation.
I mean, you say that, but Les won one and made it to another one, and he won 9 games 2 years back to back, and he was gone.
Well, and to be fair, like Gene Chizik won Auburn one, but
and they want him gone every year.
Well, no, Gene Chizik, I mean, they got him gone after the second year.
Oh, well, Gene did. Well, yeah. All right, Gene's championship. I was thinking of Gus. Gene's championship was fraudulent to begin with. Completely fraudulent. That Gene had nothing to do with that. That was Gus Malzahn, Cam Newton.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Gene could have been me or you, and we win those national championships.
100%. Over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Ben, by the way, wanted to jump in and tell you that your socks are pitiful this year, Chris. Just wanted to throw that out there.
We just beat the Mets 2 in a row.
Will Gomez said,
"You're way too early MVP candidate right now." Christian Vasquez is a Red Sox baby.
They really trying to mess with you the last couple of days.
That's okay.
I don't know
That's
what
okay.
This is about.
You're not gonna get it by me.
I'm swearing to you, I did not tell them to jump in here and get on you when you came back. I promise.
That's okay. I forget. It's all right. Hey, we have fun. It's all right.
You got that right. Will Gomez said Phillies might fire their coach by September. The Brown Yeti said, so are they adding games to the current schedule or blowing it up and starting over? Well, we don't know. Let's get back to that. Ben said the Mets bullpen might as well be a bunch of little league dads.
Hey, the Red Sox could say the same thing.
Yeah. The Brown Yeti.
Pitching's terrible.
Back to what the Brown Yeti said. So are they adding games to the current schedule or blowing it up and starting over? We have no idea.
If they do away with divisions, then they're going to blow the whole thing up, obviously.
But if they keep divisions, then they're just
going to add 2 games.
Well, they're going to add 2 games, but they are going to wipe the slate clean and restructure it, more than likely putting division games early.
Oh, yes. Yeah. But we don't have a schedule now anyway. So
the SEC
early or late, what the schedule was before the season started is gone in the garbage a long time ago.
Yeah, like Alabama and Georgia will not be opening up against each other on September 26th. Like that was the SEC opener, but for both of those teams, but that's not going to happen now. So, I mean, who knows what they're going to end up doing.
But why not? Why wouldn't that be? Oh, because they want the divisional games.
Right. So, I mean, obviously, if they nix divisions, I mean, go ahead and give us LSU, Auburn, and Alabama, Georgia, and Florida, and Texas A&M, and give us all the big ones early, and then we'll do whatever. But if we still have divisions, I would imagine they will go the other direction.
I would stick with divisions because I just don't understand the reason not to. And if we didn't start so damn late, then we'd have more than enough time throughout the season to get everybody 10 games in.
Yeah.
Because you're virtually trying to get 10 games in 15, 16 weeks. But now you're cutting off 4 weeks so you can play football.
Well, and then they're pushing the SEC championship game back to, I think, December 19th. So,
but you're losing those weeks to where if something does happen, you need to pull a team out of rotation for a week or two. Then you lose all the flexibility because you gave it away on the front end.
You're likely going to, well, yeah. I mean, yeah, you're giving away all the flexibility at the beginning.
Yes, that's stupid. This is where Sankey is wrong. This is where the presidents and the ADs they're just wrong. You don't want to give away all your flexibility in the front end. If you've got to pull Alabama out for 2 weeks, you can't make those games up later because you don't have any time.
Yeah.
But if you start when everybody else is starting, then you've got time to say you don't play for 2 weeks. So somebody gets a bye week, another team gets a bye week, and then we fill them in at the back end because you got all this time.
Oh, yeah. Matt Miller said division should not be a thing anyway. Just have the best 2 teams every year in the championship game. Every conference has one good and one bad. Also, the season should start August 29th. And he said, I shouldn't say bad, but no conference has equal divisions. And that's true.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah,
true,
definitely true. Damian,
the SEC West, we're homers. We understand this. We get the bias, but nobody can argue the fact that the SEC West is not the strongest conference in all of football.
Agreed.
And it's better if you took just the SEC West. It's better than the top 7 teams from top to bottom of some conferences.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right about that. The last one that he said that he doesn't like, it's still less football. He said, last I checked, 10 is less than 12. I'm excited for more conference games, but those precious college football weekends will be fewer in 2020, and that was inevitable. So, yeah, we don't like that, but look, at this point, anything that I can
give up anything to make sure we get football.
Yes.
I'm going to be pissed off if the first 4 conferences get started and something crazy happens with this damn virus and we never get started.
Now, we
get 1 weekend when we could have gotten 5 weeks in. Then I'm going to want a head to roll.
Yeah, and I think it will.
Oh, I don't. You think Sankey would be fired for that? I don't.
It may not be Sankey that gets it, but, it could be.
But that's who should. He's the one responsible. He's the commissioner.
No, he's the commissioner, but this was voted on by presidents.
I understand that.
Sankey,
you don't think those presidents are going off information that he's given them?
No, I think they're going based off of the information that
Roger Goodell is the commissioner of the NFL. He works for the owners, but he guides the owners. That's the whole purpose of the commissioner. Okay. You all have a boss that's a board, but one man has to make these decisions. Okay. One man has to guide this ship. Yep. And I guarantee you, if he said, we need to start early so we have flexibility to finish no matter what hits us, then they would have done what he advised.
Okay.
Or I need him to publicly come out and disagree with the presidents. That's it.
One or the other, right?
One or the other.
You
either need to say, I wasn't for waiting this long because I like the flexibility starting early gives us. I don't want to hear this. I want to see what happens once everybody gets back to campus, because that means if what happens comes back, that when everybody gets back to campus that we think is going to happen, what does that mean? We're not going to have football, because we all kind of have an understanding what the hell is going to happen when everybody gets back to campus. It's just going to blow the hell up.
Yeah. I think it's better to keep the kids off campus, but
I agree.
But either way, before we dive into our next topic, I want to talk about Damian Estrada's question here. He said, question, since y'all said that MLB in sports right now is a good thing, explain how it's a good thing when there's players struggling with food and rats in the bubble and MLB postponing games because of COVID already. Ben jumped in and said MLB doesn't have a bubble. Do you have any idea what come on in. Do you have any idea what he's talking about?
Nope.
I am so confused. And I
assure you that the NBA does not have any food or rats in bubbles.
Yeah.
Rats and food in the bubble. That I'm just certain that's not happening.
Yeah, I think you're right. Maybe it was WNBA, I think, that was having some issue.
Well, then I can't speak to anything about that, but I don't follow that league when they're not in a bubble.
But this is not Major League Baseball that's having this issue. I don't know what he's
talking about. And it's not the NBA and it's not the NHL.
The Brown Yeti said, I think Mississippi State will get screwed anyway. They do it. We will probably pick up Florida and Georgia. Maybe, probably. Who knows? And then Matt Miller said, also the South seems to have plateaued with cases in the last week. We'll see. We'll see. I would love that. Let's move on to the next topic here. Let's talk about the NBA really quick, and we'll kind of fly through these last topics. Obviously the most important one was the SEC stuff. But the Lakers win, and It was entertaining. It was exciting. I like the court. Like, it feels like I'm actually watching a game in an arena. Like, I mean, you ended up watching it last night, right? How'd you feel about it?
It was okay.
I don't feel like I'm really
fine.
missing anything.
I mean, you're missing the crowd, but it's fine.
Yeah, I think, watching it on TV, I thought it was.
I think the crowd has a bigger effect on basketball than it does on baseball. Watching baseball has been fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, nothing's weird, nothing's strange, nothing's out of place, nothing's abnormal. Watching the NBA, it's funny to me that the first couple of rows are fake crowd and the rest of it is like some weird live zoomed in crowd. The zoomed in real crowd looks way faker than the fake crowd.
Yeah, it's really strange. And then you've also got other NBA players in the arena, so you do hear like some yelling and whatnot. I thought that was kind of cool, but
I'm gonna tell you what I like the most important of it all was follow our advice and we're all good.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody knows what the hell's happening the first couple of weeks of this thing, first couple of days, especially this thing. Just bet all the if you get a head start, take the head start.
Yeah, bet the dogs, and then we're good to go from there. So the Jazz and the Pelicans. Did you end up watching that?
No, but I watched a lot of highlights and clips from that game.
So the Pelicans sat Zion Williamson down the stretch, and it was, they've had that minutes restriction thing on him since going back to the regular season. What are we doing at this point? Like, they are 3.5 games back, and I was as a Grizzlies fan, obviously really glad that they lost the game, right? Mike Conley does it for us one more time, gets that win, but they sit Zion Williamson, and he was having a really good game. Obviously, he's incredibly exciting.
No, he wasn't. Zion Williams plus minus that game was minus 16.
Was it minus 16?
Minus 16. It was the worst on the game from any single player.
So maybe
he was getting his ass whooped. That's why he didn't put him in the game at the end of the game. Who showed up? Listen, this is not a minutes restriction because of the team like they did when the season first started. This is a who showed up after the quarantine fat and out of shape. Zion Williams showed up fat and out of shape.
No, but we saw all the pictures of him.
I don't care. Look at it. He don't look like he looked a month and a half ago, 2 months ago in those pictures.
No,
he don't look like that. He looked chiseled in those pictures. All that chisel has little baby fat wrapped all around it right now. He can't carry his big ass up and down the court. He was minus 16 on the plus minus. The worst plus minus out of anybody on the court.
All right, so his minus 16 on the court. Damian said,
and in the rookie of the year. Go ahead and do it.
Well, they're not going to because he didn't play enough games. So
no, he didn't do it because he didn't deserve it. He didn't earn it.
Well, no, that's exactly right. Like, he didn't deserve it. He didn't earn it. He didn't do all that stuff. But either way, ESPN and all these other things still knock out all of that stuff, right? They still broadcast Zion Williamson. And I sent you a headline from last night about the Jazz winning the game, but the number one headline was about Zion providing explosiveness to the Pelicans last night. And it made
minus 16
sense.
Plus minus. That's a hell of an explosiveness. I'm sure not Golden State, the Nuggets wanted it to keep him on the court.
The Jazz, the Jazz would have won by more than 2 had they done that.
Yeah.
So, but the Jazz they did outscore they outscored them by 10 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, they took over the Pelicans at that point. So, yeah. Ben said that's what the NBA gets for pushing Zion so hard. Matt Miller said, no, Zion did look fat. He had to get out of the bubble to get him to get those Magic City wings.
A couple of weeks or a couple of months ago. Now, remember this. This is a couple of months. We've been in quarantine for 5 months now, okay? A couple of months ago, he was looking in great shape.
Yeah.
And he had all them videos coming out. Man, that's a long time ago. There's a whole lot. We hadn't seen any videos after those.
No, you're right. You're right.
Eating a lot of that homemade bread everybody was making.
The first
he looked fat and out of shape.
The first few weeks of quarantine, I had lost 12 pounds, like in 3 weeks or whatever. You go from when quarantine started to now, I'm up 5 pounds. So I've just fluctuated all over the place. Like I was really into getting in shape at first, and now it's like, toss me that candy bar. You know? which I think maybe that's what Zion's doing. That's it. So either way, we had NBA last night. The Grizzlies come on at 3 o'clock Central Time today against the Trailblazers. And then we've also got several other games today. We got the Magic going live in, about 15 minutes. The Magic and the Nets. You got the Suns and the Wizards. These are games that literally nobody cares about. And then tonight, you got the Celtics and the Bucks. You got the Kings and the Spurs. And then you got the Rockets and the Mavericks. So, entertaining basketball all night. Bunch of stuff on League Pass, ESPN, etc. And you got baseball, and you got hockey. We are ready to rock and roll all the way through this fall. I am good with it. Damian said Zion looked like he was Lou eating them wings. Or he was with Lou eating them wings. Joseph said, can't blame him. Popeyes is that good. Yeah, it is. It's pretty good. And then Matt Miller said, that's why you guys did the show earlier today. Who the hell is going to play for the Nets? No, that's not why we did the show today. I have to go pick up my daughter in a little while. I'm not canceling a show or doing a show early for the Grizzlies. I promise. I love the Grizzlies, but that ain't why we're doing it. I could have that on in the background. I wouldn't be
opposed to it because y'all still get the damn show, and I get to watch the Grizzlies.
There you go. There you go. Either way, we'll both be able to do that. I'll have to listen to them on the way. Let's move into UFC right quick, and we're going to try and fly through these last three really quickly. UFC. Conor McGregor tweeted out yesterday, I accept. And it took me a minute to figure out what the hell he was talking about, right?
This is like the 19th time he's done it, but this one's supposed to be real, right?
This one is supposed to be real. Now
it's supposed to be real.
Now, just a few days ago, Dana White did go on CNN when he was talking about the Khabib and Gaethje fight and all this kind of stuff and said, I talked to McGregor, but we were talking about personal stuff and just life and family and da-da-da-da, and he is retired. So then Tony Ferguson comes out, and he's like, I need to get back in and get that belt. I need my shot at Khabib or Gaethje again. He still never got to fight Khabib. So he wants those shots. He said, but I will take a fight to show you that I am back. So I will go in and knock this thing out, and let's do it, right? I will fight McGregor if you want me to fight McGregor. I will fight Dustin Poirier if you want me to fight him. Whatever you want me to do, let's do it. So he says all of that on Ariel Helwani's show. And then McGregor yesterday comes out with, I accept. And then you start hearing from some of these MMA reporters that, hey, they might be working to put this fight, this Ferguson-McGregor fight, on the same card as Khabib and Gaethje. Now, if your goal is to socially distance, I don't think that you want McGregor and Khabib to be anywhere near each other at the same time, right? Like,
I think they got enough security where they can control that.
You would think so.
I think they do. I
think, one, it would be ridiculous because a Ferguson-McGregor pay-per-view card would be insanely high anyway. But Ben said that stream would not be PG. No chance. I think you're going to have big numbers for Khabib and Gaethje, and I think you're going to have really big numbers for McGregor and Ferguson. So there's no reason to put them on the same card. I think you separate those two out, and then we see what happens from there. But I would
okay with that.
Love this fight. El Kukui and the Notorious. Let's go. I'd rather see that. I think that fight could do bigger numbers than Gaethje and Khabib. Am I crazy for thinking that?
No. Conor will do bigger numbers than that.
Yes.
Because of Conor.
Oh, 100%. He'll find a way to turn this into a spectacle, and Khabib and Gaethje are just not going to do that. Like, on top of that, with Khabib, and really Gaethje has the wrestling background as well, you've got the possibility of it turning into Usman and Masvidal. And that was incredibly boring to watch. Matt Miller said UFC 269, Lou Williams against Magic City Strippers. Damian said y'all should do a play-by-play reaction stream. That would be cool, talking about the Grizzlies. Maybe once we get in the playoffs, we might have fun with that.
So I just checked the line. The Grizz are plus 3.5. That's what I'm doing right now on my phone.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. They're underdogs.
I'm getting that money in.
I love it. All right, let's talk Major League Baseball right quick.
Come on.
Major League Baseball has postponed the St. Louis Cardinals and the Milwaukee Brewers. I couldn't even read my own handwriting here. That's terrible.
It happens.
The Cardinals had 2 guys test positive for the coronavirus. Now, I understand with the Marlins.
Was it 2 players or was it 2 like?
They hadn't even said that. They haven't come out with the official
they
stuff
were
yet.
like
So it
office
could be
people.
well, it could be managers. It could be Terry. Vince said, whenever Gary talks UFC, Chris hops on his phone. They notice.
Sometimes, hey, I'm the reason we're talking UFC. I'm the one that said, hey, we got to talk Conor.
It is true. Terry jumped in. He said, y'all started early today, man. Yeah, Terry was supposed to bring me a hat. Terry, I'll wear it on Monday. He wants me to wear a Cubs hat on the show. So I'll knock it out. We started early. I got some things I got to do this afternoon. I told you I was working today. Anyway, so with this whole Major League Baseball thing, we don't know if it was 2 players or if it was a player and a manager or whatever.
We'll find out eventually, but
but here's the thing. We figured all that out, and the other guys have tested negative. So the goal of this whole Rob Manfred thing was to pull up another player to take the place of the guy that tested positive or the 2 guys or whatever.
And keep going.
And you keep rolling.
That's right.
Like, you don't have the luxury of a lot of time to be able to get in these 60 games. And we discussed all of the stuff about, not everybody's going to have the same number of games. Not everybody's going to get to 60. I get that. But Matt Miller jumps in and said, Manfred is so bad. It's 2 freaking people, and the false positives are so high. Juan Soto had 2 positives and like 13 negatives. Yeah, and then Phillies and Blue Jays game was canceled yesterday because of COVID as well.
Yep.
Here's the thing. The plan initially was good, and then he got freaked out by this Marlins thing, even though he came out and defended it well.
Yes.
You are going to have guys test positive. You have to be able to roll with the punches and keep this thing moving along if you want to have a season. If you want to cancel... I just
don't understand how morons keep getting jobs.
We didn't even like Rob Manfred anyway. But I thought he did a good job defending it. I just don't
understand how he's just dumb. So I heard an intelligent argument about what's going on, and this is a league issue. This is a league issue that should have been sorted out a long time ago. So while they have expand players available to them from their minor league system, so baseball has rules in place that are a little bit like football, to where if once you call a guy up and then you send them back, they are fair game for any team to go pick up. Okay?
Yeah.
So here's the problem. This year, put a timeout on that rule, and I can call the player up and I can send them back as many times as I want. Nobody can come snag them. This 1 year, you can't snag my star prospects, because this is a great opportunity for, hey, let's pull up our best prospects, but nobody wants to pull those guys up even though they have access to them, because they know they're not going to stay on the roster all year when these guys get healthy and come back. And then they don't want to send them down, and they've just lost this star player that their scout team has found and developed. Just do away with that rule. We hurt ourselves so much with rules that overcomplicate things so badly. I just don't understand any of this.
Yeah,
I get the purpose of the rule under normal circumstances. This is not a normal year. Expand the freaking roster, or just expand the rosters to where when you call them up, they just get to stay up. That's it. I'm fine with that too. I don't really care how you do it. Figure a way out, but let's not make this thing. This is not that hard of a problem to solve. You got 2 guys down. Bounce those 2 guys, bring 2 new dudes in. Let's play ball.
As it stands right now, 15 different Major League Baseball games have been postponed due to COVID-19 cases. 3 of the league's 15 games on Friday's slate will not be played as scheduled. That's quite a bit. That's 20% of the games. And we don't know yet if the Cardinals and Brewers are going to be, if the whole series is going to be done, or if it's just today. We don't know. So we're waiting to figure that out. I guess they're running the guys through more tests and whatnot. Terry jumped in and said, they better not cancel my Cubs game, damn it. I want my baseball. Ben said, 2020 is weird when the White Sox are as good as the Red Sox. That still remains to be seen. We've been playing a week now. Come on.
So I will tell you one thing that's bothering me about baseball. Baseball needs to have a lot more day games. There's no reason for them to be playing every game at night.
Agreed. They're doing like one
on
game.
The afternoon, man.
Yeah.
On the afternoon, there's no reason for not doing it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm waiting every day for
games to be on national
tip,
TV if you just do it.
Yeah, a 2:30 first pitch every day is a little too late. It's just a little too late.
Yes. There's just no rhyme or reason for why you wouldn't just have a better situation.
I agree. Matt said it should be a 40-man roster, but the other guys, you don't need travel with the team and stay at a different hotel and just stay ready. Yeah, I'd be good with
perfect. Hey, that makes sense.
Which means they can't do it because they cannot be logical.
God, yeah, no. Somebody's going to jack that up.
Ay. All right, let's close out with this. The Monday Night Football booth has been settled on. They're leaving the door open for Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler to call NFL games. But as it stands right now, we're going to have Steve Levy, Brian Griese, and Louis Riddick. And I am totally okay with that.
I like this booth a lot.
I mean, obviously, Levy has done fill-in games a couple of times here and there. Brian
He's
Griese,
a pro. He's done it forever. He's not going to get in there and screw it up. He's not going to get in there and make it a mockery.
Yeah. Louis Riddick he's a pro as well. I love listening to him. He's a great commentator. And then Brian Griese has been doing this for a long time, too. He's done college football and the NFL. I like all these guys. Like, none of them is a standout, like, oh, it's Tony Romo or it's Peyton Manning or whatever. It doesn't have to be. So long as they are good at their job. Yeah, stability. That's all we're looking for. And honestly, I mean, this may just be a one-year thing, but as it stands, these are all ESPN employees anyway. I mean, who knows, right? So we'll see what happens. I think they're going to be pretty good because, I mean, they've done it before. I've enjoyed listening to them call games. I think this is going to be just fine. The way it was stated, it says Levy, Griese, and Riddick are slated to host the first Monday Night Football game this season, while Herbstreit and Fowler are currently slated to host the second matchup, according to Miller's reporting. Miller does note if college football season is canceled, this could change. So, I mean, we'll see. Like, we were going to see Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit probably do some NFL games for ESPN this year. But the main booth is going to be Levy, Griese, and Riddick. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. Terry said, 120 games at Wrigley are as close to heaven as you can get. He said if it's a good game on Monday night, anyone could call it. Just hope they actually have good games. Yeah, that's true. Matt Miller said ESPN used to be great with John Miller and Joe Morgan for baseball and radio, and Monday Night Football used to be great too. I don't know what happened. Well, I mean, they got cute. That's what happened. Damian said that's better than listening to Joe Buck and Aikman. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I like Joe Buck.
I like Buck. I mean, Aikman's been hitting the head too many times.
Yeah,
but
I can take or leave Aikman, but Buck I think is pretty good. I don't really like Buck on baseball. Like
I like him on everything, but
maybe it's just me. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of his doing baseball games, but I mean he sounds just like a baseball commentator. I mean, you know. Either way, Ben said anything's better than John Gruden.
Yes. Literally anything is better than John Gruden.
I love that these guys know you well enough that they'll jump in with that here and there. All right, let's go ahead and get out of here. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you for another wonderful week. I'm glad that we've got Chris back. We are ready to rock and roll into college football. Go over to sbrpicks.com. Go to sportsbookreview.com. Knock this stuff out. Make sure you're subscribed to their YouTube channel to get our college football content. Our first video goes up tomorrow, August 1st on Saturday. So go and check it out. We'll have as much content.
It might be a video you folks don't need. If it's the intro video, then
I think it's going to be the intro.
But watch it anyway.
Hey, Terry jumped in. He said, Gary, you're right. Buck sucks at calling baseball. I don't know that he sucks, but he's not my favorite. But with that said, we're getting out of here. Go to winningcureseverything.com. Go to sbrpicks.com. And make sure you are subscribed to our podcast and leave a nice 5-star review. Share the show out. Click that like button on the video. All these wonderful things. You guys have been wonderful all week. Thank you for jumping in the chat and helping us drive the conversation. Chris, is there anything else we need to hit?
That's it, brother.
That is it. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We'll see you on Monday. Thanks for checking out Winning Cures Everything.
If you want to keep up with us, hit subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Visit the website at winningcureseverything.com, or you can like us on Facebook or follow us at Winning Cures, at Gary WCE, or at Chris B. Giannini on Twitter. Share out the show, leave a nice review,